Oh,
Good
hello.
morning, Clara, Apollo.
Good afternoon, Leah, Mattinson Ray.
How are you today? How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. And hello to you watching as well, or whatever time of day that might be for you, because we are 24-hour sisters. We are. And often when I'm awake, Leah is asleep. Actually, no, she's awake a lot of the time, aren't you? You're a
I'm
lot of
awake.
things going on.
I'm awake a little, but I have good sleeps. I go to bed at night early. I'm a pretty early bird, an early bird, and that is okay for me.
Yeah, a lot. Actually, you know what, Leah? I've been swapping that around. I've been experimenting with this because I've been a night owl all my life from having been a costume designer and being in rock and roll, and
Yeah.
just find that like that time of the night, everything's really calm and everyone's gone to sleep. You don't get interrupted. And actually, more recently, I have been lured into the same kind of feeling at the beginning of the day, and with this freshness that occurs, and all the birds are excited. They're not going to bed, they're waking up. And so I've taken me a while. It's taken me a few kind of weeks to acclimatize. But now, 10 o'clock, I turn everything off. It's like it's the wind down time. Started off as a bit of a dare, but I'm loving it because I'm waking
Good
up
stuff.
before the dawn. Much better time to do your meditations and your practice.
Yes.
And then you're up and at it and ready to go by 8, 9, not a problem. So, but
Right.
you've always been like that though.
Well, I think most of the time. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Oh,
The new
yeah.
truth show. I guess we should
Yeah.
say welcome.
So,
We got a little thrown
welcome.
off, but the reason why is because we've been trying to go live for the last 20 minutes to the hour because we were so excited about going live. But we were warned that there's lots of glitchy stuff happening in the world of computers. Probably about on the 26th, I was warned to be prepared for things to not work out very well from the 28th for about maybe even as much as a week or 10 days.
Yeah.
So when we went to try to go live this morning on YouTube and Facebook and got rejected, I wasn't that surprised. Although, do they know who they're dealing with?
Hang on, double act coming through. So we have actually been chatting amongst ourselves for the last sort of best part
Half
of half
hour.
an hour. So
Yeah,
hence
exactly.
that chat. But indeed, welcome to the new True Show. This is me and Leah doing our thing. I got my little Twinkie birds. What have you got in your
Blink.
in your in your
I've got
teapot?
nothing, just red. It's the beautiful red of red. What do I have in here?
Yeah.
Nice black coffee.
Mm.
Just black. It's
And
like
I've got
vanilla.
my
It's vanilla hazelnut coffee.
okay. I've
Smells
got
delicious.
my morning mix, even though it's the afternoons. I like to keep it steeping in the teapot because you
Quite
can keep
lovely.
adding it. You know what? I even keep it because I've got a ginger and lemon thing going on, lemongrass and a bit of turmeric, and then whack a bit of turmeric gold in for a bit of a boost, bit of
So yummy.
green. But if you leave it, because herbal tea isn't like black tea, so it doesn't go horrible when you leave it to steep. So I actually leave it overnight. So in the morning, I
Mhm.
just have a real shot of blast of it before I make a fresh one. But that's me talking about my morning again. We
Right.
have
No,
got
that's
other
good. We'll have
things.
to have we'll do a tea ceremony one day for people who are interested in doing the tea thing, right? Because that's a
Yeah.
nice reverential point. It's something to cause instant presence because when you're making tea, you don't want to have hot water all over you, so you do pay attention.
You do really, and
I
you're
don't
right.
want to
In
be
fact,
cold.
but both of us have other shows. You have your Master Your Life. I have Chi Time, and Chi Time is that play on Chi Time, tea time. Because I really feel that when we reach for a cup of tea, we're actually looking for some time out. We're looking to come back in touch with ourselves, have a breath, time to sort of settle, And yeah, that tends to mean like caffeinated tea, but not so anymore. There's a whole range of amazing herbal teas that actually do you good as well as give you little pickups. So yeah, tea is a great topic. Love it.
It is not the topic we're going to dive into today, though, people,
No,
because
not
we have definitely got other plans. There's so much stuff going on in the world right now that I think there's a lot of chaos, and we've been promoting some things for other people, events that are coming up, which is we'll talk about. Which is too bad that we can't be live because there's no point promoting stuff that is going live at the same time as us. Hopefully they're not struggling with their live feed
Yeah.
because man, that would
Ooh.
be too bad. So this who have you had on your show? Who do you want to bring forth, share wisdom, knowledge, fun thing?
Well, on this week's Chi Time, I've got Dr. 𝒍𝒔𝒐 in to talk about Reiki and the roots. So this is going back to the roots of Reiki practice, like sort of styly that Mikao Usui was working with. That innate healing sensibility that we all have, without all the structures that have come up around it since. And I'm not saying that those are wrong. I'm just saying that this is an interesting way to look at it.
Sure.
And the link with Qigong, one of my favorite topics. So getting Reiki and Qigong together, and what is real healing, and how can you get out of your own way to allow this through, to bring through the healing energy that wants to be part of you, because it is part of you.
Yes,
and it's the stagnations, and it's the patternings, and it's the holding and the tension that stops the clearer flow of that. So yeah, I'm really interested in all of that. In fact, we've got a date coming up on the 14th of November called Superpower Your Reiki with Qigong Moves and Meds with me and Sarah. So you can find that on Eventbrite.
Moves and meds.
Moves and
meditations, not
exactly.
meds like go to your cupboard and pop.
Well, what would you rather? Would you rather have medication or meditation? It's a good question. And I know obviously you do need to have certain medications for some things, but a lot of the...
Interestingly enough, I'll tell you about this, about some things that this is a little bit mind-blowing for a lot of people. So I just had an interview with a fellow, guys can check it out on my channel, Jason Reynolds. So Jason teaches quantum data, whatever, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But he and I have the same belief, and a lot of people, it's very, very hard for them to get it, but we're born with everything that we need. Yes. In order to be well. So I appreciate, it's like the meditation thing. And there's this stage of letting go, I think, in life, of needing to have medication of any kind. And so it's quite controversial to think that way, but so anyone who wants to check that out, I don't want to go deep on this show on that, because it's we actually have almost a 2-hour discussion about it. And
okay.
Yeah, and so you can check that out on the channel. But I would absolutely agree with you that yes, we need to be meditative and thinking. It's like we are healing at a cellular level. The toxicity is going out of us all the time, and all the time, without us thinking about it, without it being an effort. But man, do we get in our way?
Yeah, we do. But so when we can tune in with this naturally occurring phenomena, it enhances it. It makes it more effective for us, and we can be clearer for ourselves, as well as that which wants to be gifted through us from the glorious cosmos and our spiritual natures. So yeah, I mean, it's taking care of the physical body. I mean, this vehicle is amazing.
Yes.
The mechanics and the mastery within, but we really tend to abuse ourselves because we're maybe not taught not to, but it is that also. I think a lot of us have got a self-sabotage button in there, and it's like getting to know that aspect of your character, and getting to chat with it, and doing deals with it, and going, okay, can we do something here, because I would like to be healthier, because we know at the moment your health is so vitally important. Yes. So this is central to a lot of the conversations we have, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, because the only thing, the only things that have any value and right now it's like time and money. So time is an interesting construct also. And so we're really trying to help people to blow that idea out of the water along the way. Like, the truth is really that your health is at the basis of everything. And even if we're fighting for this, and you guys know this, if you're sick, if you're sick, your money doesn't matter at all. People will wait until the end of they're almost on their deathbed, and then they'll spend money on their health. It's the oddest thing, but that's actually how we've been, it's odd, but it is how we've been programmed. So I don't know that it's our nature necessarily. We've been programmed for several decades about really how we nourish our bodies, how we sleep, how we treat pain that comes in our lives, and that's usually through something that's not so hot. So alcohol, drugs, prescription, not prescription, poor relationships, no sleeping, meds, lots of medication of all different kinds. So whether that's smoking, or I'm trying to think of the million things, porn, gambling, anything to move you away from the pain point, but that doesn't actually resolve the pain. You guys know that, right? So
no, and it's that like running away from it, that escapism that we all have as well. I'll just run away from this, but you
running
can
away.
no, you can't run away from yourself. Isn't that a classic Bob Marley lyric, isn't it? You can't run away from yourself. And yes, maybe it's not easy to begin with, but when you do show yourself some compassion and be your own best friend, I mean, come on, if you can't be your own best friend, how can you expect anyone else to be? You know, how can you be the best carer for you? And I think what helps me around this is this this different kind of awareness that we can shift our perspective of, you know, being in all this drama that tends to be more out in the front, the stuff going on, you get pulled this way, that way, whatever, and it's disturbing and distracting. But that's not the only aspect of yourself. If you can let yourself draw your mind back to the center of your brain, or maybe into the back of your head, and be aware of the back of your neck and the back of your shoulders and the back of your back and the back of your pelvis, so that you bring your awareness into the back of you. In fact, we're doing this right now, it's happening. And you breathe into that big back space. It kind of helps you to disengage from all the busy and become more of a watcher, of an observer of what's going on. So there's a space between the you that's witnessing and the you that's doing all the stuff. And it's this space that gives you that perspective to choose, do I want to be doing that or do I not? So that has been one of the most useful reframes of where I place my mind if I'm getting in a bit of a funk.
Yes. So everyone go for that one.
Well, try it out. I mean, maybe some of you are doing that already, but we all need reminding. And that's another thing, you know, you mentioned about patterning and how we've been, you know, we've had learned patterns of self-sabotage and things that are not natural to us. And yet this repetition, bless you, this repetition of self-sabotage, that becomes the normal. It's like what's going on now at the moment. It becomes normal, but normal is not natural.
Right. Yes.
It's a topic to discuss. Yes, exactly.
Natural. Exactly right. And I think it's funny that somebody had said, you know, when a dog gets, and this is a terribly cruel thing to say, but you guys, you know, this happens, that sometimes animals get injured by vehicles. So let's say a dog gets hit by a car. It will lay in the ditch for only as long as it takes for it to shake it off. And then even if it's injured, it will try to get up and go and carry on with its life. But what we do is we get hit by things in life and just, you know, lay there. We don't get up. We don't, like we're very, very, what's the word to use? Fragile. We're quite fragile. We tell ourselves a bunch of stories about what all that means when something in life happens, whether it's something that we designed, you know, by our own behavior, or something that seems to come out of the blue, like getting hit by a vehicle, which, and I know people who have, so it's just, yeah, it's just, but how quickly do we get up from these things in our life? And how do we choose to recover from them is a big thing, right? So there's so much really going on in the world that is external to us right now. So all this mandatory masking, the social distancing, and I've just heard some incredibly more interesting stories this week. I just go, oh my God, what in the world? So because here, are you guys masking there? Clara, are you guys masking?
Yeah, and in fact, I had to wear a scarf yesterday because I haven't been, and I had to go and get some stuff from the supermarket, and I just have one of my scarves on, and I got told for wearing the wrong sort of mask. I didn't even get into a discussion with her. I thought, I'm just going to get my bananas and get out of here, because as far as I'm concerned, I just don't want to be in those kind of places anymore. And I watched a great little video about people in Egypt. And in Egypt, they're just not really worrying about it. They're just cracking on, getting on with their lives. I'm like, hey, I'm moving to Egypt. It'll be very interesting. And isn't it in Africa as well? There's a very low incidence too. So, you know, there's all sorts of information still coming out. And yet the UK media that's all they're talking about. And yet there's so much else that is so very important to be looking at in this day and age. not
Yes.
least the environment, but certainly the way that we're treating our children is huge. And I know this is a big topic for you. And Leah, you're a fantastic researcher as well. So what have you found out? What's your latest piece of
Among the
info?
distractions, because it's just like that is a distraction,
Yeah.
so that we're not paying attention to these other big things.
Yeah.
Right. And so what I found out this week, interestingly enough, and not, and just to touch, it's like people go, is this stuff real? Like, is this whole child trafficking, is the amount of child abuse, is this stuff real? And it's happening right in front of our eyes. So this morning I just shared with you, Clara, one of my dear friends sent me a L'Oreal, and I'm going to call it out. They sent me a L'Oreal advertisement for, you guys can all look this up, or you can ask me to PM me with it. It's like what's the product? Let's see if I can see it with my glasses on, because I was like, oh my God, what the hell? It's a little boy that's almost naked, and he's got his little white shorts on, and you guys all look this up because it's just quite disturbing. Do you have the product there, Clara? I know I shared it with you this morning, but I'll just take a look as well.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's important is because this is one of those, is that real? Is that real? And you damn tootin' it is. Damn straight it's real. So it is L'Oreal, and I will show the product here. I'm just going to bring it up.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Do you see this little person? I hope you can. You see it, Clara?
Because I just want
it. Yeah. So
you
guys
want to just hold him and say, "Come away from here. Here's a jacket and some trousers, young fellow.
Yeah.
This is not normal for you." The
There's
thing is,
the product.
he will have been given, what is lippy care anyway? It's because I mean you don't need.
It's by La Roche. It's
so who in their right marketing minds is saying, okay,
there's the brand name, and why I want everyone to look it up is because this is what's important, is when we see this kind of disgusting, and if you don't think that's disgusting, number one, I want you just to check in with yourself and go, where did my moral compass actually get so screwed? Because that's number one, is to check in with yourself. Go, how did this become acceptable in my life? Well, the reason why is because we've been so programmed. It's absolutely intentional programming to be abusive to children. Right now, there's a huge push on. So in about 1994, there was a change to the charter here in Canada that was around sexual orientation. And I was part of the group that was trying to get it stopped in 1994. And so I went to the ledge here in Edmonton with other protesters. We had a meeting with the Standing Policy Committee on this stuff, and the change went through anyway, and around sexual orientation. And everyone was going, oh my God, Leah, you're being so ridiculous. This is just about the gay people, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, absolutely no, it's not. It's absolutely about man-boy love. It's about something far beyond the regular, normal, biologically gay folk. And so here we are, 20, almost 30 years later, and this is the kind of stuff that we've come to, is this stuff, because it is about having access to children and making it normal. I was absolutely freaking horrified, Clara, this week also in a call with South Africa, that the age for consent for children to have sex is 9 years old.
What? Who's making that up? Is that, well, that isn't
government. That's the government.
So this is getting us to the topic of laws, of these laws that are made up by people that they're not in alignment with universal laws or cosmic truths. They're not actually laws. They're made up to control the populace. So I know it's something that Sacha Stone talks a lot about as well. And on his recent interview with Ricardo Bossi, the guy from Australia One, the leader of Australia One, he was mentioning the pornography of truth. No, the pornography of trivia, shall I say. So you show me that little picture there, that dear little lad, that is using that pedophilia for a trivial reason. You don't need to marketing, it's like, stop it now. And it's And he also talks about natural laws, pure truth, right action, all the way through. And if it doesn't resonate with your moral code, there's a reason for that. It's because it's not right. And so you're right. We have to stand up to these companies and go, stop it.
Right.
I do not consent, and I do not want to see that. And I don't think it's right.
Yes. And then, yeah, that's exactly right. And not buy stuff from them. I mean,
No.
honestly, the reason they continue to do what they're doing is because we continue to pay them.
That's right.
Or anything. So it's part of this
Yes.
stepping away. You can control your dollars. And if enough people control their dollars and their spend and pull out of this stuff, it's easy when it's like, you go, oh, these kids in whatever country are being used and abused for making people's, whoever's running shoes.
Yeah.
Right. Or clothes. And then we all go, oh my God, that's horrible. We're not buying from that brand. And again, if you're not that aware and you don't do that, you're supporting that kind of shenanigans. Same thing goes for our cosmetics and etc. So you have to make a decision. Do I really need that box of or that, razor and shaving cream, or do I actually need to find somewhere else to shop? And
this is really good point, because often one of my faves is saying that every choice has a voice, so that wherever you're choosing has a ripple effect.
Yes.
And it really matters. I know each of us are tiny ants on the planet, but when we're working together as a team ant is strong and powerful. Yes. So it does make a difference. It really does. And I think also we're looking at, whereas back before 20 years ago, you'd be going for the cheapest product because you haven't got a lot of money or whatever now. And now it's like looking at value for money and looking at exchange barter system as well. So there's so many folk now that are financially challenged that are looking at other ways to exchange what they have for other people's, which enables us to step away from the mass market media moguls and to step into this community truth of exchange and kindness, communities where people take care of one another. They don't snitch on each other. And I was talking to my dad at the weekend about the book that he's read a lot. He's very interested in the rise of the Third Reich. And how it shifted from Hitler just being a chap that was running another team of people to actually becoming the leader. And it was this focusing on fear and putting getting people to tell on one another, this pitting communities against each other. We absolutely cannot have this going on. We are here for one another. We need to build our communities, not snitch on each other to governments. I mean, I think if you know somebody, so we've got this rule of 6 over in the UK at the moment, unless you go grouse shooting, don't get me started. Right. But anyway, so they're saying that if you know somebody next door that's got 7 people in the garden, you need to tell the policeman. Well, why don't you just say to that person next door, I happen to notice you've got 7 people there. I don't really want to go to the police about this, but is that okay? And it'll be like, well, there'll be some story behind it. So you get into a conversation and you have an awareness about how much you care for other people, not how much you're trying to be the self-righteous person there, because don't we all want us to be healthy and well?
I think that we do. I think that we do want all to be healthy and well. And also if you're, interested then at why would they feel like it's okay to have 7 people, you might be more interested in checking out the research for yourself instead of just chewing up the sound bites that you're given and spoon fed. And we're freaking lazy. Holy man.
That's true. Can't be bothered to research. You'd rather believe the dystopia that's being fed down all the channels and funnels than going to do the research.
I shouldn't say we're lazy. We are lazy though. And we've been bred to be lazy. The last several decades of people haven't had really any, a whole ton of responsibility. So it's really an interesting thing that we're turning more and more into the Borg, that whole, I'm going to get up for work. I go to work and I don't have to think, and somebody bring me my coffee and I'll do my job and I get my paycheck, but there's not a whole lot of like thinking beyond that, the hand that feeds you. So when the hand that feeds you is actually got a little bit of a claw on it, then it should be going, hold on a minute, like what's going on here? We've become defenseless in some ways because we just eat up all of this stuff. And so we're at the mercy of whatever it is that people are telling us, because we're willing to eat the current narrative. And so when we're challenged, like, I really have a deep appreciation for this challenge that people are going through right now, because I've had to go through it several years ago, like way before this. There's like the rugs pulled out from under me. So I've had to do my own research around health and wellness. Mm-hmm. I don't buy what people say. I'm interested in what people who are experts have to say, the experts around wellness. And so I go, oh, hang on, that, and the experts around wellness look well.
Yes, they do. There's a big clue there.
Right, big clue. But look at the people who are in charge of wellness. Look at the people who are in charge of public health. And you look at them and go, holy man, did you get beat with the stick of unhealth? Because most of them look terrible. So
the thing is, what we're getting at, the underlying feeling I'm getting, intuitive energy person coming through here, is this detachment from the soulful self, this detachment from the truth of you, this detachment from the support of all your ancestors, the detachment from your friends and the people that you trust in your family. And when we're detached and we're isolated, we do all this habitual behavior because we're trying to fill a gap through externals, and it's never going to happen, because the call to come into the truth of you, into your heart, into your soulfulness is, it can't be satiated in any other way. And my sense is that is the way into your health. That self-conversation, that self-kinding, as I refer to it as. How can I be kind to myself right now? How many of you, when you talk to yourself, you berate yourself, you tell yourself off, you expect more from yourself? How about you cut yourself some slack and go, I'm doing all right. Right. And that you say that to one another. I mean, we do a lot because it's just the people that we are. But when you're in sort of mainstream, it's almost like some kind of way of, how much can I beat myself up? Because I know it's a bit of a British thing as well, like, don't be seen to be too shiny and amazing, because then that'll be your ego taking over. It's like, okay, I think we talked about this on another show about the ego can be used in a good way, because it's part of your personality. It's when it takes over and is running the show that is the problem. But when it's,
and who told us that? It's like, who told us that to not be shiny? Who told us that? You can't be shiny and smart. You can't be shiny and smart. You can't. So it's like this indoctrination again of the assumption is that if you're shiny and smart, then you don't care about other people, or you're thinking only of yourself. And it's an assumption, because we've been told that, oh, you're selfish. Oh, you must be selfish if you still look okay when you're after 50 years old. Oh, you must have not been doing anything or giving to anybody else because you look okay and you're happy. How can that be? Hang on a minute. That's not right. You're weird. It's like, what's weird is that we're so disconnected from ourselves that we would think that it's odd to be shiny. Yeah. Like if you think about babies, they're shiny. And why do they get unshiny? Because we're assholes to kids. Like, we're poor kids. Man, we want them to walk. We want them to talk. And then as soon as they start doing that, we tell them to sit down and shut up, and that they're going to do what we say. And we punish those little suckers until they are capitulating to everything that we want. And we are the same. We were the same. Our parents made the same errors. But that's why we're not shiny, because we're disconnected from ourselves. Again,
this is that detachment from who you really are, and it's like trying to control children instead of learning with them, because they are closer to source. They're the ones that have come through recently. Yeah. I don't know about you, but when I first set eyes on my boy when he came out of the womb, there was a deep wisdom that was shining in those eyes that was unfathomable. I'm like, whoa, where have you come from? Yes. And yet, society just is maybe scared of that. But, I think it's, again, Sasha, who I know you've got a fabulous new show happening with Sasha Stone. He talks about this. We should let the children be guided by the children, with the wisdom of the children, and not try and break them. And, what with them, they're the ones that are inheriting the future. They're the ones that bring the wisdom through at the time. And, there's so much that isn't being done that could be done. I know there are some people that do take care of their children in a much better way. So all power to you and more. But there's this fear of being a child right now. And there's that yearning to be a grown-up, to be an adult, because it's just not safe being a child, maybe, you know, just be an adult soon. But I remember my lad also, he's about 11 or 12, and he was realizing he was growing up, and he absolutely loved being a kid, and he was in floods of tears, and he was like, oh, Mom, what's the matter? He's going, I don't want to be a grown up, I love being a kid. And I just put my hands on his shoulder, look into his eyes. I said, it's okay, you can bring your child with you. And he's like, oh, which is clearly what I do. But I think that's important for all of us, that childlike quality that we have, that approach to playfulness lightens things up, and it puts us in touch with our soul.
Yes, very important. And then it puts us in touch with what's going on with the kids also.
Totally,
so we can feel that. And the kids are not only they're the catalyst for the change in us when we actually look at them and go, oh, what's my behavior? How's my behavior going to affect them growing up? And is my behavior going to make their life easier or harder? And I'm not saying we're consistent with that 100%, but definitely my children, I credit with being the catalyst for losing 100 pounds, because I looked at them and went, oh my God, it's like I'm really successful in my career. I'm a counselor. I've, got a good reputation, and I am fat, holy moly, and fat because I know like why I'm eating, from being abused, emotionally, that's the only way that I knew how to deal with things. But when they were very, very little, I just looked at them, they were playing, and just had the moment and went, oh my God, I'm going to be that mom. I'm going to be the mom that's ridiculed, and I'm going to be the mom that they get ridiculed about.
Yeah.
Do I actually want that for them, for their life? And I went, hell no. And also it's like, I'm not going to ever take them to swimming lessons. It gets time to sign them up for mom and taught swimming lessons. I'm not going to do that. They were 18 months apart. So they were born close together, my birth children. And then I raised another batch. Yeah. But yeah, I just went, no, my God, Leaha Mattinson, that is not good enough. I remember looking myself in the eyes and going, no. So children can really be a constant reinforcement of why we want to be better human beings. It isn't just about their unfolding, but it's also about our real world response to that unfolding. And I can tell you, decades later now that I'm a grandmother, that the grandchildren are the ones that hold that space for me now as I go, what kind of grandmother do I want to be? How do I want to show up for them when they're here? What do they see? What do they interpret? Do they see a grandmother that's happy, healthy, attentive, loving, kind, appreciative? Do I build them up? Do I build them up by letting them do what they want to do, or do I make them do, oh, come on, like people that trying to convince their kids all the time to do stuff, and the kids going, no. Like, I don't want to do that. No, don't make me do that. Even if it's like, come here and give me a hug. It's like, no, because people don't do that, right? Don't force them, for God's sake, but it's a funny thing. We do that. And then we feel like, oh my God, they're rejecting me. But it's figuring out their space. They're figuring out their boundaries and all this. So I think kids are incredibly awesome. And that the more time that we can spend learning from them, not trying to, whatever it is that we do, dominate.
And we would love to know your comments on this. So on this,
yes,
it's going to go out on YouTube, so you can pop us some comments in the bottom. Let's keep this conversation rolling, because it's just Leaha and I having a chat here, but hoping that this is connecting with some of the issues and topics that are running through your life. Because I know another big one we wanted to speak about today was that around the socials of the media and the socials of the distancing. No, I'm going to go into the social media dilemma. Those of you who've seen that Netflix movie, all the rage about a couple of weeks back, but it's sort of telling us things that we were suspecting, but goes into so much detail on the neurology and the neuroscience and this pattern behavior that we're all insidiously part of now, and what we can do. What can we do about it? Again, we're getting back to choices and stuff, but I don't know. Did you catch that, Leaha? Did you see that?
I saw the 2 or 3 minutes. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
And because I thought I don't want to support it. So an actual very credible person sent me a snippet of it.
Yeah.
And so I went, okay, I'll watch that thing, and went, it's like gives me goosebumps, honestly. If you guys haven't seen it, it's so just disgusting is the word I always think. It's just disgusting. And it's teaching kids to groom each other.
Yeah.
Little girls to groom each other to be sex objects. And so this whole, it's very diabolical, and that anybody would have pushed back on that at all is, I shouldn't say it's stunning, because it's not stunning, because it happens all the time. It's shocking, very shocking.
Yeah, but this sort of mental manipulation, for us to be aware of this, our minds and our hearts and our souls should be ours. This is our personal sovereignty. You hear us talk about this a lot. It's really important for us to own our brilliance and our being here on the earth at the moment. Anything that takes that away from us is wrong, in my humble opinion. So, and recently Facebook has changed. It's changed its format. You can now have a dark mode, which says so much to me. I was already finding it very tricky, even going in there. I think you can pick up the vibe on places, and I do have a couple of groups. I have the Chi Up Your Week for the Qigong, and then there's the Chi Up Your Life, which is a private Qigong practice. And I'm much happier posting in places that people have already made a choice to be part of.
Yes.
Because this mainstream, this scrolling in, am I just adding to this fire of twisted corruption by putting my stuff in there as well? You know, it's a real problem for us, because we want to communicate with you. We want our high vibed conversations to continue. And at the moment, it's looking like YouTube, to be able to do this, is the way. But we also know that YouTube deplatforms people. And I know that you've had somebody on recently that you couldn't even mention his name because of the fear of the deplatforming thing. This isn't freedom of expression, people. What the fuck's going on?
Yes, yeah, exactly. So we've been inviting people to migrate over to other platforms. I think also it's like the companies themselves, it's the structure of what they built is awesome. Like the structure of Facebook is awesome. The structure of YouTube is awesome. It's brilliant. And then you've got the corruption that creeps in, and it's our job. We are the reflection of the corruption. We've created it. We've created all of it. So if you go on just sitting here, and I'm not anything to do with any of the whatever, we permission the stuff that is on YouTube or Facebook or in this local shop that we're in. And I remember being this is a funny awareness. I remember being young and going into the local confectionery, which would be like a candy store or a drugstore or whatever, but going into the confectionery, and that there was the dirty magazines. There was a couple, but they were behind the counter and they were wrapped in stuff that you couldn't actually see them. So you couldn't actually see what was on the cover or anything. And so you would actually have to go in and ask for that dirty magazine. And I'll call it a dirty magazine because that's what it is. So
that's what they were called as well.
That's what they were called. And now it's just like some other thing. So we've been very hijacked. Normal ways of looking at the body, at other human beings in a sexual way, and hijacking love and relationships. It's all been freaking hijacked, because now so there was the evolution of, then you could see the cover, and then the evolution of that they're not just on the back wall and there's two of them, there's now thousands of them. And now you don't have to go to a store to get it. You can get it online anytime you want. So this whole access thing is one issue. But the other side of that is, you cannot blame the person who is producing this stuff, because we as purchasers have to make decisions about whether or not we're going to participate. Because if nobody was buying that stuff, nobody would be doing it. So you can't, it's our responsibility. But the day that we went to somebody, oh, that's a good idea to take some pictures of naked little kids. Yeah, let's do that. Like, something happened in the psyche of people where if there had been nobody purchasing that stuff, it would have never continued. So we have to keep coming back to ourselves. We have to keep coming back to what we create, what we permission. These shows on TV and I don't watch any TV, so it's I watch some YouTube stuff, that's it. But you choose. But I've had friends that send me, oh, you're going to watch Survivor. I watched, years ago, whenever that first came out, I watched the first 15 minutes and went, this show is about what? Like, it's like, I'm not watching that. Like Survive, I don't even know the tagline anymore, but whatever it was, it's about being cruel to other people. Like, I'm not watching that. That's ridiculous. That's not anything what I'm about, and I don't want to know about it. And then the beauty pageants with little kids in it, and the moms are just trolls. I'm like, I'm not watching that. And why would anyone want to watch that? It's ridiculous. We're watching people in their absolute worst, and they're getting paid to be their worst. People are making money to be their worst and for other people to laugh at it and then to excuse their own bad behavior because they go, well, you know, I just watched this show and they're way worse than me. So as long as I can laugh at what they're doing, I don't really need to do anything to improve my life because I'm doing good enough. So it's this whole weird game of getting into permissioning, watching things that are, and paying for it, because we're paying through it for, we pay advertisers when we buy their products, when we purchase their stuff, when we give them our time, and supporting in whole industries around people who really are like sad. It's a sad, twisted, thank you. Yes. Twisted perspective. And that it screws up the poor children. Those are real people in those shows. A lot of them are real people. Yeah. Like they're real people.
So where is this personal responsibility to take care of the vulnerable? You know, as adults, you know, we would take care of pets. We would, you know, on the whole, we would take care of things. We would take care of our youngsters. Where is that? Why is that being eroded? What is this whole sick society? I mean, I think one of the first, I think it was the second episode of the New True Show when I read that piece from Matt McCartney's The Children's Fire that suggested that when a society isn't respecting its children, that is really showing what a sick society it is. And we're talking across the board here, but that isn't true. There's a lot of incredible people around doing marvelous work to bring through the best and to encourage the best and to look after. And I mean, brilliant. We need to know more about that as well, but also to be able to focus on that, because the news will only give you what it wants to give you for this whole sort of sensationalization or this control. So any sort of good news where people are empowering one another, taking care in the right way, you're not told about that, because that might make people stronger, that might make communities stronger, that might make them more difficult to manage. And where is the education? Where's the true education that is required now? I mean, as we get on to, you know, from social media and how children are getting pulled into that, the use of devices for kids is just everywhere. It's just, they all know how to swipe and click, and it's like, is this going to make them more easily AI'd? Where is the naturalness? You know, I'm not saying we're clearly here on technology now, aren't we? And we all have our gizmos, but I now do not take my phone to bed. I do not. It's not the first thing I do before I go to sleep and when I wake up in the morning. I've had to train myself though, because I was just have a sneaky little look. It's like, what are you doing here? Right. You know?
Yes. What are you doing here? Yeah, I agree. Kids are now, well, the schools are forcing a lot of it. The homeschooling, the schools, the masking, and sorry, not homeschooling. The reason for a lot of people choosing to homeschool right now is the threat of vaccines, the mandatory masking of children in schools, and they're all getting devices in schools so that when the next wave comes, because it's coming, people, is that when the lockdowns happen and the schools close, kids are sent home, then they are going to need a device in order to learn on. So those who didn't have the standard device, don't have their own little device to learn on, have all been given Google Chromebooks.
Marvelous. That's
so
what we need.
So we won't get into you guys look up you guys need to do your own research, but I'll just give you that a lot of it. Yes. So check out all of the schools that are using Google Chromebooks, not just in your country, but throughout the world.
Yeah. And it will come across, it'll be helpful. It'd be like, oh my God. And this whole, when the second wave comes, I'm just going to pull you up on that, because I think when we expect things to happen, then they will. But I think also whatever is coming down the line may or may not be COVID. And I think there are, we're still, like in the UK, I think dying from COVID deaths is about 24th on the list. It's not a high terminator of of people's lives anymore. I mean, when you just look at the statistics around other diseases that do take people's lives, then it just needs to be maintained and kept in proportion.
Right.
But I wonder if this is all like a big practice game for if something really, really tremendously awful is produced or whatever, that we've already got all the infrastructure that we know how to behave. So that's my concern too. But
yes. So yes,
yeah.
there's lots to talk about, and there's lots of ways to unpack things. We don't want to leave people in a sand space. We want to this week, but just know that this is kind of the content that we talk about on the show. Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about inviting people to. We're going to do something fun here for everybody around sexual energy and energy of creation. So that you have a little bit of a tool in order to be grounded, because I think what's happening now is that people aren't grounded. But before we do that, in terms of community and how we support our work. So Clara has her Qigong work. I have Master Your Life on UK Health Radio. And on this platform, we have UK Health Radio, on this platform, we have my show, her show, and we also have the New Truth show. So we have lots of really fun, great things going on. Can't wait to participate with all of you. But people ask, how do we support your work? Because we are a censorship-free platform. We've been doing this work for decades. So we've been online. We've been doing health, healing, wellness at a global level for decades. So I don't want to age us, because that's not very fair.
We are in our 50s.
We're in our
50s exactly. And feisty, and we're not taking any more bullshit.
That's right. So, we've been, and so the shows have really been about that constant expansion, but also because they're censorship free, we've not gone to traditional sponsors for shows. We haven't gone and said, hey, nutraceutical company, can you sponsor the show? Because guess what? I don't believe in nutraceuticals. So how can I ask them for show support? So anyway, the shows have been supported strictly through client work of our own, and also through people supporting by donation. So we've taken this opportunity at this time to set up a brand new Patreon page. That's Patreon, The New Truth Show, which we'll make sure that we put below this video when it's posted, so that if you like what we're producing and you want to be a supporter of the show, that you can come on and find out how to interact with the community. There's going to be lots of fun things happening. We'll have live events and premieres of things, so that you can participate more fully with us. But the way to do that again is through that Patreon link. Anything to add to that, Clara?
No, I think that is a really brilliant thing to bring in here, because we were talking earlier about how do we communicate if Facebook is just not feeling right. Come across to Patreon, because then you can see all the comments, you can get to know one another as well as us, right, as things grow. And kind of what kind of questions do you have? Yes. What would you like us to be researching and finding out more about? So yeah, we are building a community. Well, we all are in our pockets across the world, but we can do it online too. And just really know that the support is there, that you're not on your own, that we are in this together. I can feel this groundswell. I think it's the truth. That's why we called this the New Truth Show, right, because that's what we're looking for. We are truth keepers. We're holding the truth inside, and we're anything that comes in, that barometer of truth, and does this feel right for me? Oh, okay, I need to research that. Or does that feel right? Is that coming from the right place? So this, both the work that Leah and I do is about self-empowerment. So it's bringing you much more in touch and to trust yourself. Right. And then you can discern what's going on outside. But yeah, come into community with us. That would be so fab. So fab.
So fab. Exactly.
Yeah, and we've got some ideas as to what we're going to be offering you as well. That will unfurl as the weeks unfold. So we're going to do this show once a fortnight in the UK. It's on a Friday lunchtime, about 1 p.m. And over in Alberta, Canada, it's something like breakfast time, isn't it? So
well, if you're an early riser, it's 6 a.m. But I know lots of farm folk who are up, and it's it's fall. It's fall and it's turning into winter. So this is perfect timing, because what do people want to be doing on Friday morning when it's cold? They want to be sitting and chatting with us. Yeah. I would want to be sitting and chatting with us because we're fun. So you can
So who have you got up next on your show then? Who's coming?
Sasha's coming on. Sasha Stone is on every week on Master Your Life on the YouTube channel Leaha Mattinson. So that's Leaha. Make sure you put the A in so that you can find me. Then I've got who's on. Randall Kaiser talking about sovereign money creation. We've got about 4 podcasts already done, so people can tune into that. It's a really good conversation about money, because people want to know where's the money coming from.
Yeah.
Won't get into the weeds on that. And then this week is also Jason Reynolds is playing. And then you can also catch, obviously, all of my replays. So Dr. David Martin, David, whose last name shall not be named. He's actually not even being played on YouTube. He's just being played on BitChute, I'm pretty sure. But you can find out more of the details over on that on my Leaha Mattinson channel. Yeah. The Master Your Life show. Yes, it's fun. All right,
you have
Clara?
got so much going on, haven't you? And I've the Chi Time TV on YouTube, and next week I have Dr. Pedram Shojay coming on. This is the urban monk who I've been following for a long time. I think his wisdom and his practical approach to everything is really spot on. And he's just done that Exhausted series with 𝑧𝒊𝒅𝒆𝒐 around asking people, why are you so tired? What's the weariness? And going into the biochemistry and all the neuro about it. But he also has a new book out called Focus. And this is just so linked into the whole Qigong side of things. What you focus on increases, where you place your mind is important, and how we can work with ourselves with that. Hence why coming into Qigong is like it's a moving meditation, so it gives you something to consider in the moment, which really helps your meditation. And so I have a new 6-week program coming up starting on the 20th of October, which is online on a Tuesday morning and Thursday evening, and on replay as well. And you can find out about that on Chi Up Your Week, which is the Facebook group. Yeah, still on Facebook for that one. But there is and another one with, I said, Dr. 𝒍𝒔𝒐 about Reiki and Qigong. So I'm all about keeping this empowerment of people coming through at the moment, being able to do that online. So yeah, exciting times. So should we share a process?
Exciting. Yeah, let's share a process. And the reason why we wanted to bring this one to you guys today is in particular talking about this past week. Well, I don't know, my life anyway there's been lots of people who've been sexually abused. Millions of people have been sexually abused, and we are sexually abused constantly by the barrage of things that we see that are so highly sexualized, that often we're walking through life with our creative energy either completely shut down or so turned on that so turned on that we attract things that we don't want. And it's quite scattering. So in my practice, so I'm a Qigong instructor as well and a teacher. I teach people how to do grounding and to understand the difference between Kundalini and the difference between grounding. And they're very different things. So, and it helps people to heal their scattered energy, and just to start getting an understanding about what in the hell is my body doing? Because I think that we've been really, really misled. And there's this really great grandmaster, Mantak Chia. So Mantak Chia is my grandmaster, and he has taught since the 70s around sessions around sexual health and sexual energy. And so he's one amongst a planet of Qigong grandmasters that have passed down this wisdom, and that people who have pretty successful lives have learned how to ground that energy and how to be calm and balanced in that energy and be able to use it as an empowering thing for their creative processes. But most of the time that's completely not available, hasn't been taught at all. So just thought that we would take a minute to teach you some grounding. But Clara, I know you can run through let's run through it, or you can run through it with folks. How much time do we have? Do we have enough time to do this today? We're going to do a short one. Whoop, 7 o'clock.
We're going to do it because we said we would.
We're going to do it because we said we would. But remember,
set it up beautifully. So thank you.
And so when we go to Patreon, just so you guys know that we'll do some of this stuff outside of in our live Facebook things and live YouTube things, but there's also opportunities for people to come in the back groups, back rooms, and to do this stuff at a deeper level. So that's part of what you'll see on Patreon.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I'm not going to give away too much. Oh, it's so difficult for me. I always share exactly what wants to come through, but with the remit of basic grounding. So you've all heard this word grounding. You're probably a bit bored of the word grounding. And it's like, oh, I'm going to do my grounding again. It's like, hey, but my feet are already on the ground. Gravity is already helping me to connect with the earth. So why don't I just surrender to that then? Why don't I acknowledge that on the soles of my feet is a whole map of my body?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Because then you can connect in with the wisdom and the energy of the earth at all times. Now, unfortunately, we tend to have the interfaces of rubber between our bodies and the earth. So this is why you often hear about us talking about getting your feet on the true planet surface. And that can be at the beach, that can be in the park, that can be in the woods, that can be your own backyard.
Right.
But somewhere where you can actually take off your shoes and socks. Well, actually, if it's cold, you can still have your socks on. But, you know, you can make that connection to the earth. And it's really lovely to nestle and nuzzle your toes into the earth and kind of feel that, you know. And when we come to our Qigong practice, this is where we always come into how we're standing on the earth with enormous respect and appreciation of Mother Earth. And what that does is it brings your mind out of the hamster wheel of the brain and into the curiosity of like, how do my feet feel on the earth? And what kind of earth am I standing on here? And underneath my feet is like the grass or the pebbles and there's all this, but then there's dampness in the earth as well. There's water in the earth. And so you can get into a relationship of curiosity about this connection with the earth that you have. And that's something that the mind can get involved with, that brings you out, as I say, of this sort of constant like chunder that goes on there. And it brings it down into the body more. And you might like to sort of do some stepping or some stomping and just to be in nature or whatever, but just noticing that the earth is always there to support you. She's always there, consistently being there for you. So for you to just breathe in, and as you breathe out, sink down into that connection with the earth with a big smile of thanks and acknowledgement that, yeah, you are supported by the Great Mother. And that, my friends, is a thing. That is an important thing, because that opens the discharge channels of old tension, can just sloosh down deep into the earth, create space in you to receive fresh new vitality from the surface of the earth. So just by you letting go into the grounding opens the energetic wisdom that's already there within you. But your key is the letting go. And you might like to put on some music or hum some mantras, or there's other ways to bring you out a busy mind. But I recommend 9 breaths. Go on, do it for 9 breaths to give yourself a good grounding connection and an acknowledgement and a nestling in, so that you don't like shortchange yourself. If you're going to go into the earth, go in. And if you can get into a cave, marvelous. But yeah, I think would be lovely to build on this and talk about the orbit of chi that travels up the back and down the front and up the center line. But that is a little bit of a longer process. And I would love Leah and I to maybe share a training session with you around the wisdom of that. But it all stems from the earthing. You won't do any Qigong or any other energy work without your patent relationship with the earth being really there for you. And you can do it anywhere. You can do it anywhere, and please do it anywhere. You know, you go to the bathroom how many times a day? Check in with the earth as many times as you want as well. So yeah, anything you'd like to add to that, Leah?
No, beautifully put. So it's a very good place to start. And notice in your life when you're hijacked from doing it, sitting all day long is what people really do get hijacked. So the invitation to do it several times a day, like when you feel restless in your body, you'll know it, because it's like you go, oh my gosh, I feel restless. But instead of actually just standing up and grounding, we often will, go grab a cup of coffee or go grab like whatever it is that we do, or just push through it, actually, which is even worse.
I know.
Walking to get a cup of coffee is a better activity than just pushing through. So notice Sorry.
Yeah, when you think about people having fag breaks, so I had a friend that was working in an office, and he wasn't a smoker,
Right.
but he pretended to be a smoker so he could go and have air breaks. And it's
Love.
like, why is it smokers get time to go outside and yet we don't, and yet it's what we need? So you're so right. When the body knows when you want to get up and move or get a coffee or drink, the body's going, I need a shift, to change, I need the call of nature. But to get outside, what I do, I run outside sometimes just to make sure I get out there. So try not to trip over or anything, but just to be out in the air, be out to see the horizon. It's really important for us to see distance as well, especially if we've been looking close up at things a lot. And
Yes.
to take lungfuls of fresh air, as well as feet on the planet's surface. So simple stuff, do not underestimate it. And it's something that I repeat over and over again, because I need to hear it, you need to hear it. We need to remind each other of these salient truths that are here to support us. So let us know how you get on.
Let us know how you get on, and do 9 breaths.
Yeah.
And the
9.
count shall be 9.
Yes, it's Charlotte. And why is it 9, might you ask?
You don't get to know this week.
Okay.
She wants to tell you, but she can't tell you. All right. We love you all. We hope you have a fantastic week. Thank you for those of us who've stayed over an hour, because, we're just getting rolling on this. So we don't even realize how much we have to share. We have so much to share. So we love you. We appreciate you. We want you to have a wonderful week.
A couple of weeks. We're going to be back on Friday the 16th of October, which is going to be a new moon. So let's roll with that. Let's think about what we want to plant. A new moon's always a great time for making your wishes, and we can go through a nice little thing around that, about honoring what it is you really want to birth in your life. And again, not underestimating the power of your mind, as well as the power of your soul and your heart and your connection to the earth. I'm excited.
Me too. And by that time, you should have done like 163 breaths or something. No, what is it? It'll be 63, be 9 times 7 is 63 times 2. So 126 breaths, because you will have already been implementing this practice. Well, yeah, it's like putting it there to go, oh yeah, that would be so much fun to come back and report to myself. Oh yeah, I did all that deep breathing. Holy man, do I feel great, because that's our secret. People go, why do you guys look so good, so chipper, so whatever? It's because we do the stuff. We don't just think about it. We do it.
You kind of have to, but it's a good have to. I'm so grateful. When I first found Qigong, I was so grateful that there was a mind, body, spirit practice that works. I'm like, thank you.
Yes, exactly. Really. All right. Awesomeness. Brilliant. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. A fortnight, as Clara likes to say.
Yes.
It's all for us. Bye for now.
Bye for now.